Welcome to the Saturday, August 23rd edition of 284 News. I am Jacques Wooding, bringing you our top stories from this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Officials call it a success story as ANEGADA is being powered by renewable energy for at least 19 hours a day. This feat was celebrated this week at the Energy Farm. The government's mandate is that they transform to 60% renewable energy by 2030. General Manager of the BVI Electricity Corporation, BVI'S, Dr. Neil Smith, said it has taken a lot of grit and hard work to get to this point.
A lot of ingenuity and cooperation between the contractors and ourselves. This is a signature project for us. It's a view into the future. As the Minister said, we expect to be going significantly into renewable energy, the production of energy in the territory. And this is a prime example of what is possible. This facility runs ANEGADA on renewable energy for around 19 hours a day right now. And we're still tweaking the system and expect it to get better.
Or did the installation from the ground up. So we've got about 1.2 megawatts of solar panels, DC side, and we produce about 900 kilowatts of solar AC, or we have that capability to produce 900 kilowatts. Then we have 4 containers of energy storage. Each one is about a megawatt hour, and that's 4 megawatt hours in total that we have to be able to run ANEGADA. Right now, what will be happening is the batteries are charging from the solar, and the solar is supplying ANEGADA with power right now. As the sun kind of goes down, it'll start to transition over onto the batteries, and the batteries will supply the energy to ANEGADA till probably about early hours of the morning, and that's going to depend on your sunlight. So the last 3 days weren't great because we had a lot of cloud. But you know, like a day today, we'll probably run a good close to 19 hours, 20 hours. Or so.
And that was electrician for the contractor installing the system, Sean Hartley, and before him, General Manager Dr. Neil Smith. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has hailed this latest achievement, saying it is fulfilling a vision of the Virgin Islands as an example to the world in utilizing the power of the sun and nature to empower the community.
And that's what we're doing here in ANEGADA. ANEGADA is a model for the whole world as it pertains to an eco-island or eco-community. Now we see that the power needs of ANEGADA is being generated mainly through solar power. How many places in the world can say that? We might take it lightly, but that is a big accomplishment, and it's something that we want to be able to build upon, as the representative for the area said. You know, in Tortola, we have a project to put solar panels on roofs because we may not have as much land space available in Tortola, but we have the roof space that we can put solar panels and try to achieve something similar. Of course, our power needs in Tortola are vastly more, but it doesn't mean that we can't cut down the amount of diesel that we use in Tortola and have more capacity, so that when we are doing maintenance of generators, etc., you have enough capacity where you don't have to load shed. This operation in ANEGADA was heavily subsidized by the Electricity Corporation. So now we made an investment that will give us value for money, because of course it won't be the need for that heavy subsidization. There'll be much less fuel being consumed over here in ANEGADA, and that is a success story for the entire Virgin Islands.
Meanwhile, the BVI's water and electrical infrastructure took a beating from Hurricane Erin, just like it did in previous disasters. There is a push now to have the remaining electric power lines buried underground. Works Minister Kai Reimer said some of the challenges the teams at BVI'S and the Water and Sewage Department have faced during Erin's passing were out of their control.
Some of the challenges that they faced, they couldn't control some of them. We had some heavy lightning that affected some of the infrastructure. They did quite a lot of repair at the station, and they had some burnt switches as well, certain things that you couldn't avoid. But those guys worked throughout the night, and they were able to, I think all power is restored now. And it comes with a system. We have an age-old system. We are working towards having our infrastructure underground, but it's a work in progress, and we need the funds to get it done, and we are working towards that.
Premier Wheatley says burying the lines is something that he certainly wants done.
Well, I could tell you that, I've already spoken to the general manager at BVI Electricity. I just reminded him today that we spoke probably from last year. I told him to make some preparations to bury the cables in the eastern end of the island, which would help VULGAR as well, because they're connected through to the eastern end of the island. So they've put the conduits under the ground already, and we will fund the cables themselves. So we're just waiting for him to give us that estimate so that we can make the funds available, and we're going to bury those cables. But it's going to be a phased approach. Yeah. Thankfully in the Rotong area we have things on the ground, but we need to extend that to other areas, starting with the eastern end where we have biggest population center outside of Rotong.
The political status of the British Virgin Islands is once again in focus as Premier Wheatley calls on the public to better understand the territory's colonial position and its right to self-determination under international law. More in this report. The conversation about the British Virgin Islands' political future has again resurfaced, calling for attention to the territory's colonial status. Premier Dr. Natalio Wheatley has asserted the people's right to self-determination under international law. Speaking as a guest on the radio program Honestly Speaking with host Claude Skelton-Klein, Dr. Wheatley highlighted a key resolution passed by the United Nations which states that there should be no more colonies in the world. He emphasized that despite its modern infrastructure and stable governance, the BVI remains a colony.
As benign as what we have going on here is, it is colonialism. We are a colony. In 1960, the United Nations said no more colonies. I'm trying to explain it as simply as I can.
Yes.
The United Kingdom was a part of that resolution. We should have no more colonies in the world. Now, since 1960 to now, we've had most countries in the world decolonize.
Yes.
There's 17 of us remaining who is still in this colonial state. Now, maybe a year or two after that resolution was passed in 1960, right? The United Nations again passed a resolution to form what's called a special committee on decolonization. They call it the C24. That committee was formed to ensure that that resolution that was passed in 1960 would be fulfilled. That mandate would be fulfilled.
Dr. Wheatley explains that officials are mandated to report regularly on the progress of territories, such as the BVI, in fulfilling the principles of self-determination. These reports are meant to track whether these territories are moving towards full autonomy or independence, in line with the UN's decolonization agenda. He added that there are options for the first step, including decolonization. Another option is integration with an existing state or free association.
Persons may not understand the terms, but we are colony. So to not be a common colony, we have to decolonize.
Yes.
Okay? And when you decolonize, that's what we call you're self-determined. You are self-determined people. Self-determination is like the same way of saying freedom. You know, you have slavery, you have emancipation. You have colonialism, which is very similar to slavery. It's like political slavery. And then you have self-determination, which is like political freedom. So our goal is to be self-determined. And we have options. We have options. If you want to be self-determined, you don't have to be independent. You can become integrated into the United Kingdom if you would like to, or integrated into any other nation. You can become integrated into the United States. I mean, of course, these things take the agreement of two different groups.
Yes.
Two different groups of people. We can become integrated into the United Kingdom. We can form a free association, which would be an agreement between two nations on mutually agreed terms. But one will not dominate the other.
According to the Premier, the UK retains several reserved powers which allow it to override local decision-making at any time. He stressed that the current arrangement with the United Kingdom is not one of equals.
What we have right now is the United Kingdom has reserved powers, and at a whim, at signing a piece of paper, they can abolish our legislative assembly. Yes. Which is, we have an order in council over our heads right now, so it shouldn't be strange for persons to understand that this is not a relationship of equals. Right. It is a relationship where one group has power over other group, whether they exercise that power or not. Yes. But they have the power.
Addressing those who argue that the BVI is not ready for independence, Dr. Wheatley countered that the territory already manages its core functions of government, including education, infrastructure, and public finance. He encouraged people to inform themselves. And with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Unpredictable, and when a storm is coming, having a plan can make all the difference.
We need a plan in case of a hurricane. Everyone, let's work together on this.
This is where we go in case if we need to evacuate. This is safe away from flood zones.
I will use this room as our secure space if we have to stay home.
Don't forget to save our local contacts and also our off-island contacts.
Right, and we need to have a plan for our pets too. They can't go to shelters, so we need a safe place for them.
In case we get separated, we should have a meeting spot. How about the community center?
That's good, and we can leave a note there too.
I feel safe knowing we have a plan.
With a plan, you're not just preparing for the worst. You're taking control of the situation. A message from the Department of Disaster Management and 284 Media.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Premier Dr. Natalia Wheatley is calling for a wider discussion on cultural expression and social responsibility after concerns were raised about a vulgar performance at this year's Emancipation Village. More in this report. Premier Dr. Natalia Wheatley has called for a broader conversation on cultural expression and societal responsibility, following concerns raised about a vulgar performance during this year's Emancipation Village. Speaking as a guest on the radio program, Honestly Speaking with Claude Skelton-Klein, Dr. Wheatley was asked about an artist whose performance was categorized as vulgar. In response, the Premier said the issue could not be reduced to one performer alone. He argued that the lyrics performed are a reflection of wider societal realities, and noted that the influence of explicit or suggestive content can be found across multiple platforms.
Now, I think, based on what you have observed on that particular night and other nights, I would say that we've lost focus on emancipation. And hopefully our discussion on independence today, persons won't see as completely irrelevant to the subject. Yes. But if we are trying to achieve a particular result in celebrating emancipation, then we would do the whole thing completely differently. We would do it differently than how we're doing it, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, I don't know, half the time I don't know who the artists are that they're bringing, but the artists that they bring are a reflection of the society. I want persons to know. And you see the village jam-packed because the people in the village want to see and hear these artists. They're familiar with their music and not particularly perturbed by the content of the lyrics. Persons have it on their radios. It's being played on the radio. Yeah. It's being played on the television. It's being played on the internet. So they're already, you know, the stage, in my view, I mean, we could speak about that, you know, from a symbolic perspective, but the persons are already exposed to this type of thing. So we need to get real about it. All we're seeing out in the open is what already exists.
The Premier also pointed out that the celebration of emancipation should not lose sight of its historical significance and urged citizens to consider how cultural events can uplift rather than degrade community values.
Do we as leaders have a responsibility to lead and steer persons in a particular direction? Absolutely, by all means, but not necessarily just by censoring or prohibiting, but having a conversation with the people and trying to lead them by focusing on what it is we're seeking to do as a community and as a society.
He further stressed that the discussion is not as simple as it seems, adding that it will take community effort to bring back focus to the meaning of emancipation.
For me, it's complex. You know, no one can celebrate emancipation on their own or by themselves. You need the participation of people. And as a community, we have to get more focused on the purpose that we're trying to promote and focus on our ethics and our values as a community, not necessarily by somebody saying, do this or don't do this.
Director of Disaster Management Jason Penn is urging the public to stay alert in light of Hurricane Erin's close pass to the territory last weekend. More in this report. Director of Disaster Management Jason Penn has reminded the public that the busiest period of the Atlantic hurricane season is now underway. Penn said about 85% of all tropical storm activity in the Atlantic takes place between August, September, and October, adding that this means it is crucial for persons to take all necessary steps to be ready for the potential impacts of storms on their shores. The Virgin Islands experienced widespread flooding in low-lying areas around the territory after Hurricane Erin dropped more than 9 inches of rain in Roadtown between August 16th and 17th. The extent of the rain also caused minor landslides, which in turn led to some water and electricity infrastructure damage and outages. Penn is advising persons to incorporate their observations of how the weekend's showers impacted them into family or business emergency planning. Recently, in a press conference, Penn advised that another tropical system that could impact the territory is already being observed.
We just dealt with Erin, but there are other systems out there. Presently in the Atlantic, there's a disturbance that we are monitoring. It's about 5 to 6 days out. At this time, there's no clear indication of how it will develop because it's quite far out. But I should highlight what we would have seen with Erin, that these systems are now developing rapidly. For persons that are familiar with the National Hurricane Center's website or webpage, you would see right now that they have an orange area that is highlighting a particular system. That is actually not the tracking part of the system, but that is the area of concern. That means when the system gets within that particular area, it has that possibility to develop quite rapidly. In addition to that, there are also a number of different waves that are not being monitored on the actual Atlantic map that are hard to move off as well. So it's a clear indication that we are moving into a very active part of the hurricane season. We would have also seen that from earlier on, they would have made adjustments to the number of storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes. Erin is the first hurricane that has formed for the season. It is also the first major hurricane that has formed as well. They have numbers between 16 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes. And so far, we've only had one hurricane as well as just one major hurricane. So that should tell you that we do have to be ready, as there is still more hurricanes to come.
He said everyone should reflect on areas where they can strengthen their level of readiness, adding that might be adjusting plans, acquiring additional equipment, or carrying out preventative maintenance and making repairs. The director also recognized residents and businesses for remaining at home and safe throughout the passage of Hurricane Erin. And with that, we take a quick break, but stay with us because there is more when we return.
Just give me my service. Yeah. Just give me my service. Just give me my service.
Make the switch to CCT and get connected today. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Visit any CCT store or call us at 444-4444. CCT, Life Unlimited.
Start the year off with more. More speed, more downloading, more savings, and more fire. CCT Fire Fiber Internet gives you the speed you need to keep the whole family connected. Packages starting at $119 with speeds from 300 megabytes per second. Super fast, unlimited downloads, even more reliable connectivity, plus free live streaming TV for the family to enjoy. Sign up for the absolute best fiber internet service in the BVI, CCT Fire, and pay no installation fee. Plus, get CCT Live TV for free. You deserve more. Get more with CCT. Life Unlimited.
Welcome back and thank you for sticking with us. The 14th edition of Miss Teen British Virgin Islands is officially underway, celebrating over 2 decades of youth empowerment, cultural pride, and community impact since its founding in 2002. This year's competition features 2 delegates, Jasiana Barnes and Maya Masle. Both contestants are described as talented, intelligent, and deeply committed to representing the territory with grace and authenticity. The contestants made their first public appearance in an interview with 284 Media. Here's a look at their first introductions to the public.
I am 18-year-old Maya Masle, currently pursuing an associate's degree in culinary arts at the H. Laverty Stoutt Community College. In a world where young people are constantly navigating pressures, both internal and external, I am passionate about making health a lifestyle, not a luxury. I believe true empowerment comes with how we care for ourselves as human beings, through our bodies, our minds, and our souls. This belief pushes my platform, Eat Well, Move Well, Live Well. It's primarily a call to action that encourages balanced nutrition, physical activity, and mindful living. Aside from this, I enjoy dance, baking, spending time with family, and traveling.
Nestled in the white sands of Bruce Bay Beach, infused with honey from the local honeybee, and crafted with the sweet, refreshing cane juice from the King Garden Bay Rum Distillery. This is where I come from, a proud ambassador from District 2, carrying the spirit of our beautiful island everywhere I go. I am Jashona Barnes, a 15-year-old scholar ready to make my mark, currently enrolled at the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies. Thank you.
The full interview is now available across 284 Media platforms. In other news, one activist is making a plea to citizens and business operators to extend an olive branch to those who have served time in prison as they seek to re-enter the world as a normal member of society. Details in this report. Not everyone who commits a crime is a criminal. That was part of the opening lines from Restorative Justice Officer Walter Barrett as he urged citizens to offer second chances to people who have been incarcerated, stressing that reintegration is critical in the fight against crime. Barrett made a special appeal while speaking on behalf of prisoners during the launch of the Virgin Islands Anti-Crime Summit and Youth Rally. He noted that many individuals who have engaged in illegal activities were as a result of circumstances.
Everybody that commits a crime is not criminal. There are a lot of people who have committed offenses, not because they are bad-minded, not because they are nefarious, but because certain opportunities arose that created an atmosphere where they could take care of some sort of threat that was there against them. I say that every one of us can end up committing a crime very easily.
He added that gone are the days when only people of a certain age were incarcerated, citing that the youngest inmate is only 13 years old. Barrett pleaded with business operators to not turn ex-inmates away because of their past.
When we look at persons coming out of the prison, people who have served their time and are coming back out into the community, for those of us who have business places, stop shutting down people because they were in prison. You need to start to give people an opportunity to get back reintegrated into the society the right way. Because if you keep telling them no, then you're actually pushing them to do something to end up in the prison again. Why? Because they're going to eat. They're going to find a way to survive. You and I find ways to survive. Much more those who have been locked up, incarcerated, and taken away from society for so long. So I want to remind us, we need to take the opportunity to work along with the incarcerated, to begin to put things in place even before they come out. So when they do come out, it's an easy transition for them back into society.
The rally featured different civic groups as well as government representatives focused on finding holistic solutions to crime and violence around the territory. Barrett reaffirmed his stance, encouraging the audience to play their part in the fight against crime.
It takes every one of us to deal with this crime problem. It takes every one of us to say, I'm taking responsibility for what's happening in the territory. It's not just up to the government to fix it. It's up to families, it's up to churches, it's up to the schools. We all have to work together to see what we can do to fix the problem.
The summit was held on Friday. And that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. Like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and X. I'm Jacko Wooding and I will see you again soon. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.